waiting to be there? What does your family's future look like? Your generational future look like? This is out of order, but that's my fault. How many people wish their parents built a perpetual money machine? I know I do. I have friends in Primerica that are reaping the benefits of their parents building a perpetual money machine. These are my friends. They're my age. Okay, what would you work 7 days a week if you could have a machine that prints out 100 grand a year without you needing to show up? Would you work 7 days a week for that? Who benefits by you building one? Who benefits that? Who is the benefact? See, we have a beneficiary on a life insurance policy. We have a beneficiary on a investment application, but who's the beneficiary of the machine that prints out $100,000 per year for the rest of your life and generations to come? Who benefits by you building that? Is ignorance truly bliss? No, actually, Jim Rohn, one of the most renowned philosophers ever, he says ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is poverty. Ignorance is destruction. Why would you continue to decide? Because it's a decision. Why would you continue to decide to take 40 to 50 hours of your precious time, which is non-renewable, by the way, and is running out, and dedicate it towards what I call the occupational toilet bowl? And why do I call it that? Because it's like flushing something down the drain. You can't get it back, and it's almost as if it's not turning into something. And up top, it says, this right here is nothing more than a decision to never again do something where I don't get paid for what I did. How many of you have had a job, and for how long? I'd love for you guys to type that in the chat. I really would like to know, when, from the time you got your first job to right now, how many years you've worked. Because if the answer is more than 10, you've got to think to yourself, what do I have to show for that amount of time? Daniel says, too many. Amen, brother. If I'm going to work, I want to put my efforts into something where at least there's an end to the cost, but a continuation to the benefit. Next slide. There's a guy in our company who has a lot to do with my development and a lot of other big leaders. His name's Hector Lamarck. And Hector Lamarck, he makes $4 million a year in Primerica and another 4 outside of Primerica. Okay. I was looking yesterday, New York Life, our quote unquote competition, has a grand total of 12,000 licensed agents. That's how many Hector Lamarck himself has. Hector Lamarck has as many clients as the company New York Life Insurance. And I'm thinking to myself, what is the difference between Hector and you? The only difference is he decided, first he took the time to understand the value of a perpetual money machine that he only paid $125 for. Then he made the decision to dedicate his time and energy towards assembling the machine. You guys understand that that you can build $1 million business in Primerica as a regional vice president if you have 15 to 20 transact clients a month as an RVP. It's not a lot. 15 to 20 as a regional vice president, you will make $10,000 a month in override and residual income, $10,000 a month. That, in theory, is a $1 million business. 10 to 15 clients a month as a regional vice president. Do you know what other businesses out there are worth $1 million? Let's take McDonald's, for example. It cost $1 million to buy a McDonald's franchise. And the McDonald's franchise pays you, guess how much? About $10,000 to $15,000 a month. But you had to spend $1 million to get it. Here, it's 125 bucks. With mentorship and guidance. Why can't it be you? Do you wish to change people's lives? Right? I hear so often people say, "Oh, Josh, I'm not here. I didn't get licensed for the money. I just want to help people." Well, how many people can you help with just you alone? Huh? You can't be in more than one place at a time. You only have but so many hours in a day and so much energy in your mind and body. Do you want to help organizations and people actually, and really forever, and actually make a difference? How much of a difference can you make with nothing compounding? Just 100% of your income coming from one person. How many people can your income truly touch? I really want people to understand this. Right now, if you have a job and a family, your income can only touch your immediate family's lives. If you could replace at least your current income at your job, but have it be 100% passive and residual, what would your life structure be? I mean, how can you rearrange your life, especially if you have kids? I'm not even saying increase your income. If you make $75,000 a year at your job, imagine making $75,000 a year doing nothing. And lastly, who suffers from you failing to completely assemble this money machine? Who suffers? You got to think, look, poor people think for the weekend. Middle class folks think in terms of monthly bills, but the wealthy think generations to come. Who suffers from you failing to completely assemble this money machine? What's the next slide? So I'm gonna have Shondell. She prepared a ridiculous compound recruiting talk, because we don't want to just grow onesies, twosies. She's going to talk about you compounding your success, compounding your recruiting, your team size. And when it's through, for those of you that have had somebody that you reached out to in regards to getting licensed with you, and they respond, "Hey, I heard that Primerica is a multi-level marketing company. Pyramid scheme. You're scamming people. You're making money off the backs of the little guys. That's that thing. Blah, blah, blah." I'm going to come back and teach you how to properly respond to that type of person.
Awesome. So yeah, guys, I mean, those questions I think are critical to ask yourself, because I've never seen any other business, any other opportunity where any of those things can happen, right? And so you really have to realize that's the most important part of your business. And so we're going to talk about compounding. And so for you guys that want to know how we know about all of these things and these concepts, and how Josh can talk this way and explain these things, you guys got to self-improve. You got to listen to audios, listen to people in Primerica. Bill Arender is absolutely unbelievable. If you go to SoundCloud, YouTube, anywhere where you can find anything from Bill Arender in Primerica, you need to listen to it on a regular basis. So when you look here, one of the concepts he talks about is compounding. So compound recruiting. And a lot of times here in Primerica, when we hire people, we kind of have this this shame that we recruit, right? And so people start to cover up what we do, kind of, and they're like, hey, we're in financial advising or financial planning. And so you want to like kind of act like we're in Edward Jones or Merrill Lynch. Edward Jones and Merrill Lynch, they don't do anything like what we do here. They don't have any type of perpetual money making machine. They don't have any compound recruiting. They don't have the opportunity to stop working and stop calling people on the phone, 300 people a day. They don't have the ability to do that, right? So you have to realize, number one, be proud of the opportunity you have here to have a perpetual money making machine and tell other people about it, guys. Like, you can't feel bad. Bill talks about that, and he's like, we kind of like cover it up because we don't want people to say the things that Josh said. But to be honest, when you really think about it, we're not doing anything wrong, right? You can go to bed at night believing that you're doing something right. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. But when we have training, right, we don't have trainings a lot of times on specific products, if you guys haven't realized that yet, right? We may have an investments training here or there. We may have a training on cash value versus term, but it's not very often. Why? Because that's not our product here, right? So we tend to train people on things that don't create teams, and you don't want to do that too much, right? Life insurance and investments, that's fine. That is how we're helping families, right? You got to be competent, you got to understand that. But if you want to get to the point of having a business, you got to focus on the compounding and the recruiting. And when you think about it, why is it important? And a lot of you guys might be like, that's crazy, because 84% of people that we talk to aren't even going to get licensed. So if you spend all of your time trying to train everybody on just the products and not the business, I mean, not everybody is really going to even pass their exam, to be honest, right? You always have to remember from day one, if you guys have been in the business longer than a day, you sat through the orientation webinar with Samir where he talked about the 20% rule, right? Not everybody that we hire and talk to is going to be productive, right? A lot of people will come in. We want to make sure we get you licensed, but we can't control that, right? So a lot of people may not get licensed, and then they're not even able to talk about the products. And then all that time was just, I don't know, right? You guys got to think about that. So you want to train on the things where you know that if you can help other people get on the same boat, get on the same page, then that'll benefit your business. So you want to start thinking about what concepts you're teaching people, right? So one thing is called the rule of 72. So you guys have seen that on the product side, right? Rule of 72, we have our little animated video. It talks about compounding interest on your investments, right? So when you think about the investments, right? Let's say, for example, you had a CD at the bank, and the CD at the bank gave you 12%, right? Versus a mutual fund, and the mutual fund gave you 5%. You're not going to say, Chanel, I'm just going to get mutual funds because that's what you're offering. I'm just going to get the CD. It has 12%. So you guys got to look at the bigger picture. People don't want the product. They want what the product is going to give them, which is compounding interest. If mutual funds were not allowing people to compound their money and allow the rule of 20, the rule of 72 to happen, and for their money to double over time with higher rates of returns, if the vehicle wasn't doing that, they would not want it, right? So you have to realize that here in our business, people want compounding, but imagine that compounding was happening here with your people, with your teams, right? So just to give you kind of like some history and some background, A.L. Williams, who's the founder of our company, when he started, he only had 85 people. That's it, 85. But in 13 years, that 85 went to 225,000 people, right? Think about it. It's like saying you had $100 and then after 13 years, it compounded to $225,000. that's what people get excited about when you're talking to them about investments. They don't care really what a mutual fund is and how it works and the diversification. They just want to see my money went from this to this in 10, 15, 20 years. That's what they want to see, right? So that's the same thing here. Like what Art Williams did back then is like saying, hey, Primerica goes from 100 agents to 254 million agents in 13 years. 100 to 254 million, compounding, but that's only going to happen if people are getting people, and we're going to talk about 3x3x3, right? So we're not in the business of creating salespeople. We're in the business of creating teams of people. So I think that picture that Josh put up at the beginning was absolutely unbelievable. You guys got to be thinking about your team and growing teams and pods of people around you, because like you said, we don't want to be doing the day-to-day appointments, people not showing up to the appointment, rescheduling the appointment. Like, you don't want to do that on a regular basis, right? You want to be able to do things with your family and your lives and travel and all of that. But that's not going to happen if all we're doing is focusing on training people on becoming great at sales. That's not what we're trying to do. You have to teach your team how to be great at building teams of people. That's one of the things that, not to kind of put her out there, but that was one of the things that I really, really liked and admired about Marin. When she came into the business, she's like, I'm trying to build my team. She was all about building her team. And that's why so many of you guys are here today, because she made the decision to say, hey, I want to build a team, and that's going to be my primary focus, right? I'm going to learn about the products and all of that, but I need to build my team. And that's what you want to kind of disseminate throughout your team as you're building here. So here's another story, another example to kind of think about. And these are good things that you guys should use when you're talking to your team. So would you rather have, and put this in the chat, would you rather have a penny a day compounding for a month, or $1 million cash right now? Which one would you want? A penny a day compounding for a month, or $1 million cash? There you go. I think a lot of people know the story, right? So when you look at it, guys, if you have a penny a day, compounding a day, it's 1 penny the next day, it'll be 2 pennies, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. So hold on, my notes went away, right? So with that, what would end up, this is what would kind of end up happening. After 10 days or so, you may have like $5, okay? Josh said, give me the cash. So you might have $5, but by the 20th day, your 1 penny is now $5,000. Okay. I mean, it's not the million yet, but just 10 more days after that, just 10 more, by the 30th day, your 5,000 is now 5 million. And then one more day, one day after that, your penny is now worth, on the 31st day of compounding every single day, you have $10 million, guys. 10 million. 10 million. It's absolutely insane when you start thinking about compounding and compounding interest. Albert Einstein said compounding interest is the most powerful force in the universe. Why do you think we put it on the presentation? Yeah, we want to help people's money grow, but because that's how your business should be built as well, right? So when you look at it, for the people that said, hey, I want the penny, not the million in cash, that's the right way. That's what you got to think about. Because now the one went to 10 million because it compounded over time. So don't you need something like this, right? You as a person, you can become the penny. If you're just one person right now, you have nobody on your team. Internalize compounding, and you can go from 1 to whatever you dream, whatever you want your business to be like, but you gotta recruit and build teams of people. So, I mean, we have the life-changing power to compound people. That's our product. That's our product. So a lot of times, and you've probably heard Josh say this, hey, I'm not in the business of financial services. I'm in the business of distribution, or I'm in the business of the distribution of financial services, which comes from building teams of people to be able to bring the financial services to more families, right? So, like, here's some quotes, guys. If you don't believe in compounding, or you think it's just a Primerica thing, got something wrong, right? So Sam Walton, if you guys don't know who Sam Walton is, he was the founder of Walmart, right? Everybody shops at Walmart right now. But Sam Walton said, hey, you got to learn to multiply yourself so you can be in more than one place at one time. More than one place at one time. If you can't do that right now, yes, expanding out to Arkansas, exactly, everywhere, more than one place at one time. So with that, like, think about it. Right now, a lot of us, the reason why we like stress out sometimes when we're trying to build our business here is because we can't be in more places at one time. We want to be with our family, then we got to also be at the job making the money, then we're here, we're trying to come home and build our Primerica business, so on and so forth. But we're put more time into what's going to allow you to be in more places at one time, right? That's your thought process, right? And so what we can help you do is get to the point to where you can be in 100 places creating income at one time instead of just one place, right? Next person, Warren Buffett. Everybody's heard of Warren Buffett, right? He said, unless you're earning money while you sleep, you will work until you die. I know you guys didn't join Primerica to work until you die. I know that for a fact. So when you think about it, like, did you make money last night? I know a lot of people, I know for sure a lot of people on our team didn't make any money last night because I didn't make any money last night, right? So with that, why is that? Because we're not big enough. We're not compounding enough. We don't have many people out there helping clients, right? We have to build, because right now you're just getting 100% of your income off of yourself, off of one. We keep talking about that, guys. 100% off of one. You want to get to the point of your life where you're getting 1% off of 100. 1% off of 100, right? That's huge. That's huge. Warren Buffett. So decide to multiply, guys. Decide to multiply. We can help you build it. We're not telling you that you have to do everything on your own, right? We can help you build it. If we help you build it, what do we mean by that? When we say, hey, we can help you build it, we mean that, hey, let us talk